We begin the movie with our protagonist, nicknamed the Gringo. Because his vehicle breaks down, he decides to stop and interrogate a man he has kidnapped in the trunk. He asks him to indicate their location, and the man does so. Then he asks why he decided to shoot him, to which the man replies that he didn't want to be caught alive. Apparently, the gangster belongs to a drug cartel led by a man nicknamed Butcho, a brutal killer known for his ability to keep order in his organization. After getting the necessary information, our protagonist sets the vehicle on fire along with the criminal. After driving a few blocks, the Gringo comes across some men mistreating a dog. One of them approaches and tries to hit him, but he dodges the attack and knocks him out with a single punch. The others join the fight, but in the end, they are all taken down just like their friend. He frees the dog, who decides to follow him until they reach a small Mexican town. Desperate for some water, he runs to a faucet to drink, but the water comes out contaminated. At that moment, a woman approaches him with a knife demanding his belongings. In the end, our protagonist disarms her with 2 swift moves and asks for her shirt. After trying to buy water at several stores where everyone refuses to help him, he heads to a bar where he meets a woman named Anna. He offers her $500 for a little water, and the bartender finally agrees. But just as he's about to drink it, she tells him he shouldn't because of Montezuma's revenge, meaning it will upset his stomach due to the different sanitary conditions from his homeland. Meanwhile, several members of the cartel carry out an initiation for a new recruit. After surviving the required time to enter the gang leader welcomes him. He has just killed his first man, and now he has passed the final test. From now on, he's the new colonel. At that moment, the girl who tried to rob the Gringo shows up. It turns out that La Flaca is an assistant to the gang. Culebra asks her if everything is fine, and she tells him that she robbed a Gringo who came to town but had nothing. Seeing her wound on her face, Culebra suspects she's lying. Flaca admits that the man defended himself and took the shirt she was wearing. Meanwhile, our protagonist tries to buy a bus ticket to Acapulco, but the clerk tells him there are no buses until tomorrow. He goes back to the bartender, who tells him the bus leaves at 2. The clerk lied to make him spend more money in town. The Gringo runs off, but just then, the church bells ring 2 o'clock. Anna tells him she'll give him shelter in her attic and that he can stay for 1 night only. Once he settles in, we see that his bag is full of stacks of $100 bills. As he rests for a few hours, he recalls what happened before he arrived in town. Apparently, some members of the cartel set up an ambush. The Gringo managed to take cover in the back, warning his partners that something was wrong. When the attackers tried to rob them, he surprised them with 2 shotguns. Using his wits and skills against the gang, our protagonist managed to survive. When he wakes up from his dream, Anna asks him to leave her bar. She saw his bag full of money and thinks he's a trafficker. She throws the bag out the window, and Flaca shows up trying to steal it. The Gringo chases her through the whole town until the girl trips over a resident. Just as he's about to grab the bag, the cartel members appear and try to intimidate him. The Gringo fights back, starting a battle in which the criminals attack him with bladed weapons. Despite this, our protagonist leaves them all on the ground without much trouble. Suddenly, the town sheriff and the gang leader appear, interrupting the fight. Culebra approaches and asks why he's in town. The Gringo replies that he's just passing through, heading to Acapulco. Culebra cuts him off, saying he doesn't care, that all he wants is for him to leave town. Tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon will be his departure. Meanwhile, we see the officers arriving at the crime scene. There we meet Lieutenant West, who quickly notices that one of his men managed to escape alive. Somewhere they'll find a vehicle with a flat tire. Later, it's revealed that the Gringo is a kind of veteran cop who investigates and captures the most dangerous criminals. With his team, he has arrested several men, but in the end, they've all been released because of corruption. The Gringo wakes up and sees Anna holding a knife. He sits beside her, and she tells him that many years ago, the town was very different. It used to be a nice place to live, and Americans often came for the festivals. Back then, her father decided to build the bar. After some time, everything changed. The tourists left, and there were no more jobs. The flower cartels needed the town empty, so they drove everyone away. Those who stayed aren't allowed to talk to outsiders and are paid for their silence. That's why no one wanted to help him. She warns him to be careful, as visitors are in great danger in town. Returning to his story, we see our protagonist cornered by the leader of the flower cartel. Using a pepper spray, the Gringo manages to disarm him, starting a fistfight. The veteran hits him several times, but the man doesn't seem to react to his blows. He easily overpowers him and beats him up until the Gringo throws his hat at him. Distracted, the mobster keeps picking up his hat repeatedly, which gives the Gringo the chance to grab some ammunition from the ground. Once he disarms him, he finishes him off with his own weapon. That's when he kidnaps one of the cartel members. When he wakes up from his long sleep, the Gringo notices the girl trying to steal his bag. He immediately chases after her, but Flocka has tied his leg to a bench. To find her, he climbs onto the rooftops and finally catches her. However, during the chase, all the money falls to the ground in front of the townspeople, and now everyone knows that his bag is full of cash. A few minutes later, the town's gang leader informs the sheriff of the news. The Gringo has a bag full of money. Knowing this, the sheriff orders them to block the entire station. They must make sure to stop him at all costs. Meanwhile, we see the lieutenant arguing with his superior. All he asks is to let them cross the border. The cartel members killed 3 of his men. Logan tells him they have no jurisdiction in that area. The Border Patrol and the DEA have taken over the case. They already have the guys who killed the officers, and they must let them handle the rest. When the Gringo is buying a bottle of water for $200, the new gang member threatens him with a gun. He gets too close, and our protagonist takes the opportunity to remove the magazine, completely disarming him. He tells him that they'll both go their separate ways, pretending nothing happened. He returns the weapon, and the man leaves to call his gang for help. As he runs, the Gringo notices several armed criminals. He ambushes them and takes them down with their own weapons, killing them as he advances toward the station. Our protagonist encounters more cartel members who set up an ambush. After taking them out, he grabs armor-piercing ammunition, which he uses to kill 3 men with a single bullet in an alley. At exactly 2 o'clock, the Gringo arrives at the station, but the bus is just leaving. While taking down a few criminals, he asks the ticket seller if another bus to Acapulco will depart. The woman replies that the next one leaves tomorrow at the same time. Meanwhile, at the police station, we see the sheriff preparing the cartel members. He tells them they must eliminate the Gringo before the DEA shows up. They have to keep the town silent. When he bumps into a man, Flocka takes advantage and steals his bag. The Gringo catches her again and demands it back, warning her that her so-called friends will kill her just to take the money. At that moment, Culebra appears behind him, ordering his partner to stop, but she refuses to obey. Because of this, he's about to shoot her in the head, but the Gringo deflects the shot with his knife. As he hits the ground, Culebra shoots him twice, and just as he's about to finish him off, Anna appears to save him. Meanwhile, we see the lieutenant trying to cross the border. The guards refuse to let him pass until he tells them he'll report them to the DEA and Homeland Security. Once he does, their bosses will have to find another route for smuggling, and they'll lose a lot of money because of it. They'll punish them by taking their lives. Afraid that his words might be true, the man allows him to pass. While Anna tends to our protagonist's wounds, Culebra argues with Flocka. It turns out the girl isn't officially part of the gang yet. Everything she does is to earn her place. She tells him that the Gringo tried to save her, that the man she considered her friend tried to kill her. Culebra tells her the money belongs to them, grabs his machete, and says that the only way to join is by killing a man. Before leaving, he throws his knife to the ground in front of her. After sharing an intimate moment with the bartender, Culebra shows up at the bar to threaten Anna. He tells her she must leave town. In recent days, things have gotten out of control. He gives her until midnight to go, and if she doesn't, they'll have to kill her. Because of the gunshots near the bar, our protagonist wakes up. As he looks out the window, the lieutenant appears, pointing a gun at him. 3 officers were killed, and he decided to take the flower money. It's a disgrace for them. The Gringo admits his guilt, but reminds him that he must accept his share too. He sent them on a worthless mission to arrest criminals who would be released on bail or extradited anyway. They never build a case or solve anything. The good men die, and the bad ones always walk free. The lieutenant replies that it's part of his job, his responsibility. He's just one man and can't change the world. As he leaves the bar, the lieutenant introduces himself, saying he's from the New Mexico Police Department. The man he has handcuffed is under his supervision, a wanted man in the United States. Culebra asks about the money, and he replies that it's evidence. The cartel members point their guns at him, demanding the cash, but the lieutenant tells them that if the money belongs to them, the DEA will come to investigate. If anything happens to him, the DEA will have to look into it. The smartest move is to lower their weapons and let them leave. Culebra complies, and Ana asks the lieutenant what crime the Gringo committed. He replies that he stole money from a drug dealer and let 3 of his fellow officers die. Unexpectedly, the lieutenant takes him to the sheriff and hands him the bag. It turns out both are working with a criminal organization. The sheriff congratulates him on the job and gives him a few stacks of cash. He says the bag should have been delivered 2 days ago in La Paz. He must take care of delivering it himself. He yells at the gang, calling them incompetent, saying an officer had to come and stop the Gringo. The Gringo tells the lieutenant that the ambush was planned by him. He ordered the cartel members to kill them. The men who died were good cops. The lieutenant answers that it was all his fault, that he should never have resisted, that he interfered with their plans, and now they'll have to kill him. To make him suffer, the sheriff orders him locked in a cell. A few minutes later, Culebra is about to torture him, but when he gets close, he realizes the Gringo has escaped through the window. Using the sheriff's vehicle, our protagonist manages to flee the town, chasing the lieutenant at full speed until they reach the border. He crashes into his vehicle, and the armed men retreat to save their lives. When the lieutenant regains consciousness, he tries to shoot him, but the gun is out of ammo. He spent the entire magazine trying to stop him during the chase. He breaks the windshield and tries to escape with the bag. Finding a shotgun on the ground, he prepares to kill the Gringo, but the Gringo is no longer in the car. With an injured leg, the lieutenant tries to move forward. As he circles the vehicle, he drops to the ground, thinking the Gringo is hiding underneath, but the Gringo appears behind him, blaming him for the death of the officers. The lieutenant says he's just trying to escape the war, same as him. The Gringo tells him they're on different sides, but the lieutenant shouts that he also betrayed his team, that he betrayed them the moment he took the money. Enraged by his words, our protagonist shoots him dead. Meanwhile, back in town, the gang tortures Ana in front of the townspeople. They burn down her bar while telling her that no one cares about her life. The sheriff approaches and tells her she chose her own fate. She should have taken the money they offered like everyone else. She's more rebellious than her father. Ana spits in his face, and the sheriff orders her execution. At that moment, our protagonist appears to save her. By giving money to the townspeople, he manages to get closer, using the residents as cover. Seeing they're surrounded, the cartel members decide to retreat. Culebra sneaks among the crowd and tries to stab him from behind, but Flaca notices and stabs Culebra first. After thanking her for her help, he goes to assist Ana. The sheriff hits him in the head with the butt of his gun, saying he won't let him interfere. Just as he's about to kill him, the dog the Gringo once rescued bites his arm. The sheriff drops his weapon, and our protagonist seizes the moment to shoot him. Lying on the ground, the sheriff tells him he's just one man, that he can't stop them, that he'll never kill all the narcos in Mexico. More will always appear. For everyone he kills, 10 more will join. Thinking he's no longer a threat, our protagonist leaves him on the ground. As he approaches Ana, the sheriff pulls out a hidden gun. Ana reacts just in time, throwing the Gringo's knife straight into his chest. While the townspeople thank him for taking down the criminals, the Gringo picks up the sheriff's badge and hands it to her. Then he throws the bag of money to the residents so they can start over. In the final scenes, we see our protagonist visiting Anna's new bar. After taking down organized crime, tourism in the town has significantly increased.